Welcome, everyone, to another special edition of Litter Media Live. I'm your host, Mike Smith, and joining us today is Ohio State Highway Patrol Trooper Nathan Konkler. We're going to be talking about Ohio School Bus Safety Week, which is October 21st through 25th, what motorists need to know about school bus safety and driving around school buses. Our special edition today brought to you by Kingston National Bank. Back after this.
Wherever you are there for a reason. You shouldn't have to make a trip to the branch just to deposit a check. Skip the trip and use our mobile app to easily and securely deposit checks from your phone. Day or night, wherever you are, or whatever you're doing, download the Kingston National Bank Mobility app today.
Back with Trooper Nathan Konkler of the State Highway Patrol. School Bus Safety Week. Laws have been on the book for a number of years now, Trooper, as to how motorists are to proceed behind, in front of, around school buses, when they need to stop. But it seems like there's some people that just can't get the message or won't follow the rules. Let's talk about what is the procedure when you're driving and you see a school bus on the road and stopped on the road.
Correct. So with the Ohio Department of Education, they have rules and regulations that give school bus drivers what they need to do prior to stopping and picking up students. So they're required within 300 feet to activate their yellow lights. Mm-hmm. Once they get to the stop, they're going to activate their red lights and the stop sign's going to appear. So if the yellow lights are flashing, the motorists need to take caution that the red lights could come out at any time. And we have a lot of issues with people running the red lights. Motorists are required to stop within 10 feet in front and 10 feet behind the bus.
So at the time the school bus lights are red and the stop sign is down, you've got to be stopped.
Correct. If you're within the 10 feet of the front of that bus, you have to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I know sometimes it takes, let's say you're at a corner where multiple students are getting off the bus. That takes time. I know sometimes if you're in a hurry to get someplace, but you just can't ignore the fact that you've got to wait till that bus driver says it's all clear to go.
That is correct. Me personally, I would rather call into my work and tell them I'm going to be a few minutes late getting to work rather than running a school bus red lights and getting a citation.
We were chatting about this beforehand. According to Ohio law, the school bus driver, for example, is pretty much the key testimony if you get cited for not observing this law. Is that correct? That
is correct. They're typically our star witness if they observe it. Now there is an approved option. A lot of schools are having external cameras to help us with the investigation part of it, maybe capturing a license plate or a vehicle description or something like that. It really helps us out tremendously.
Because this law has been on the books and so much has been stated and talked about it for so many years, there's no more warnings. If you run past a bus when you're supposed to be stopped, you will be ticketed.
Yeah, it's pretty strict enforcement when it comes to that because ultimately our goal is to make sure the students get to and from school safely.
What is the citation for not observing this law?
The ORC or the fine?
Well, like if you go to court.
Yeah, all courts are different. It's going to be probably in excess of $100, I would guess, but each county court is different as far as the fine amount when it comes to that.
I'd like to say that people not observing this law is rare, but evidence shows differently. We have seen multiple video camera incidents on social media, on television news, where people just think that they don't have to observe this law. So obviously we've got to do better at getting stopped.
Yeah. NHTSA actually just put out a study that they did. I think it was over 2022 to 2023. In the nation, there was over 43.5 million red light violations.
43 million?
In the whole nation.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yep. They did another study. they also surveyed 3,500 of the violators, and it was mind-boggling, the answers of why they didn't stop. The number one answer was did not care.
Wow. Obviously, that's a biggie in relation to school bus safety, but there are other school bus safety rules, hopefully, that even the students will follow when they're on a bus. Everybody needs to be seated.
Right, correct. Yep.
Can't be walking around on the school bus while it's moving.
Yep. And that's also a distraction to the driver as well when they have students. They have a very tough job.
Currently, there's not a mandatory seatbelts on buses, is there?
Currently, there is not. It is an approved option. Schools are able to put seatbelts on the bus if they would like to.
Obviously, when I was on the school bus many years ago, we didn't have that. I know there's been a lot of discussion about that, but so currently, that's an option for schools, not mandatory.
That is correct, yes.
You talked also about each year before school even starts, every school bus has to go through an inspection?
That is correct. Yep, we go top to bottom, inside out. We make sure that they're safe to be on the road. We have roughly about 20,000 school buses in the state of Ohio. We try to make sure that they get inspected at least once before the school year, and then once during the year.
So no matter how old a bus may or may not be compared to being brand new, they have all of these features like the stop flag that goes down, the lights working, and all that.
Yep, we go over all the lights and the mechanical part of it and check all the brakes and make sure the interior's safe to be in and all that stuff.
I know we've had a number of reports of, most of them, thank God, have not been serious injury, but school buses have crashes too from
Yes.
time to time for various reasons. And I know if you come up on the scene of such a thing, that's probably your heart's up in your throat there.
Yes, it is. Yep. It's very nerve-wracking to see a school bus in a crash and wondering if everybody's safe.
Anything else about what is going to be observed October 21st through 25th with School Bus Safety Week you want to touch on? Maybe we haven't talked about.
Yeah, we'll. So basically, we'll have troopers when available. They'll be following school buses, looking for red light violations. They'll be in school zones. A lot of the school zones are 20 mile per hour, or all of them are 20 mile per hour in the state of Ohio. Not all of them have flashing lights during restricted hours. So I would say if your school is not on a state route, because most of the state routes have yellow flashing lights, reach out to the school to see when the restricted hours are, so you know when to obey that law.
And while we're talking about that was a point of discussion I had a number of years ago with one of our law enforcement officials in an interview. Sometimes that's confusing for motorists. When they go into one of those school zones, they see the signs, which oftentimes it's like 20 miles per hour. That's not a constant speed limit. That's during certain hours of the day, correct?
Correct. Yep.
And that's during school or just when school's dismissing?
Pick up and drop off, yep. So in the mornings when the students are getting dropped off to school, that's the restricted hours. And then when they're getting picked up in the afternoon for their afternoon route, that's the restricted hours. A lot of schools are different, so that's why I say if there's no yellow flashing lights on the sign, reach out to find out when the restricted hours are.
Of course, as we're doing this interview live, we're getting mid to late October. A lot of the schools have had their homecoming dances. Some of them are still yet to come. Talk, if you would, to the students now about driving safety, making sure that they don't have the car jammed with a bunch of kids. What is the current law concerning how many people can be in a car driven by a teenager that has a license? Okay,
so there's a couple different things. 16 years, they're only allowed, or 16 and below, so 15 and a half to 16, they can only be accompanied by a legal guardian. So if between 16 and 18, I believe they're only allowed having two. I'm not sure unless I look that one up.
Right.
I think it's two in the vehicle with them.
Yeah. obviously these are things that have changed over the years.
Yeah.
But it's to try to keep the teen driver attention on what they're supposed to be doing and not be distracted by a bunch of people in the car.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to touch on before we close?
I believe that's it. Just make sure everybody's safe. Give the school bus plenty of space. Like I said, if you see the yellow lights flashing, use caution. I would like to add that all school buses are required by law to stop at railroad crossings. So if you see a school bus stopped with their hazard lights on, just give them their space and their time because they're making sure it's safe to cross.
And that's even if there's nothing coming.
That is correct.
All right. Again, remember, here in Ohio, School Bus Safety Week is October 21st through 25th. But please make every week School Bus Safety Week here in the state of Ohio. Our special edition guest has been Ohio State Highway Patrol Trooper Nathan Konkler. Our interview today brought to you by Kingston National Bank. I'm Mike Smith.